Hi, and welcome back to Grow Old Disgracefully. Today we're going to talk about the condition epilepsy. It's been 17 years since my last seizure. I developed epilepsy at the age of 32. It was a shock, it wasn't hereditary, and it has changed my life. It's quite a common condition. People don't tend to talk about it very much. I think from what I've read, there's 65 million people globally that suffer from a form of epilepsy, and there's supposed to be over 40 different forms of epilepsy too. I woke up, I think it was the middle of the night, and I had a very handsome ambulance man standing over me with an oxygen mask. And as I came round properly, my husband had explained to me that we'd woken up and he'd found me convulsing. My lips were blue and I was very pale, and he thinks that it was the convulsions were going on for about 10 minutes, but he's not sure. During that time, he obviously thought it was a heart attack, and he realised it wasn't, and he got straight on the phone and called for an ambulance. The ambulance man came, and I think it's called the angel effect. When someone saves you or rescues you, if you go through something quite traumatic and you survive together, you almost put that person as someone like godlike, and they've saved you. And I went into the angel effect. I swear to God, I forgot I had a husband for a moment when I looked at the ambulance man. Anyway, so they took me in the ambulance to hospital, and my angel and I lay down while he asked me loads of questions, and obviously I was very scared. I didn't know what had happened. I thought perhaps it had been the What's-Its chips that I'd eaten with my kids that night, or the WKD that I'd had, and thought perhaps the colourings and additives had made me poorly. But no, unfortunately, it was more serious than that. So when I got to hospital, the doctors did some tests, and they informed me that I had had a seizure, and that straight away I wasn't allowed to drive anymore, and that was for a year. So that was very devastating. That was the first major change in my life. But of course, my biggest concern was why I had developed epilepsy. Now, they did loads and loads of tests on me. And during that time, the neurologist, who was really brilliant, very, very clever man, he'd put me on a drug called Epilepsy. So I was having ongoing tests, and I got to 110 days, because believe me, you do count the days before you can get your driving licence back. And unfortunately, I had another big seizure, and the specialist had to change my medication, and they put me on one called lamotrigine. So I take 200 milligrams twice a day. And since he put me on that medication, I have been blessed, and I have been seizure free. And a lot of people go through their life, and very sadly, they never manage to get their epilepsy under control. They just have to live with it every day. And then it's an exhausting process if you have the grand mal seizures, which is what I had. They couldn't find any physical reason why I was having seizures. There was no scarring on the brain. They did MRI scans. They did the flicking of lights. They did sleep deprivation. They tried everything to set it off, just to see why I had it. And the only other reason they can put it down to is stress. And as we all know, stress can make you poorly, and it can bring different ailments out in you. And I did have a particular stress at that time, so they believe it was most probably that caused it. So yes, they put me on the medication. I had a few side effects from it. I was really lucky, because a lot of people have more side effects. My memory is useless, absolutely useless. I'm stunned sometimes that I even find my car in a car park, know that I have children, or remember where my house is. It's just bizarre, and my whole life is full of post-it notes and lists and everything. So it didn't help with my memory. It also has given me a form of insomnia. I don't sleep very well. When I first started the medication, I was nauseous quite a bit. I didn't put any weight on. I think sometimes people do put weight on with the medication. In fact, I lost a little bit of weight. But yeah, it's just the sleeping and the memory loss, and you're supposed to drink less alcohol, and you're supposed to adapt your lifestyle accordingly so you get lots of sleep, which is impossible, and you rest and you eat and drink healthily and everything else. But sometimes life just, it doesn't work out that way, but I do try. So It changed my life quite a bit. It made me appreciate what I had, obviously, because when you have seizures, you don't get a warning, really. It just comes. But one particular time, I did get a tiny, tiny warning, which is quite unusual. And I just remember feeling something down below, and I looked down, and then I could feel my body starting to like literally close down. It was almost like there was a surge coming up, as if somebody was freezing me from my feet upwards, and it got to about here, and then I must have obviously just passed out because I don't remember anything, but I do remember that initial surge. So it also, I know it sounds silly, it's made me not afraid to sort of die in a way, like to die of natural causes. Obviously it would be awful to be chopped up or something, but no, like if I was to just die, like I wouldn't be afraid for that sensation, because it didn't make me go and panic. It just happened. It's like something in your brain just keeps you calm. So it made me value life, it made me not be so scared, and I knew nothing about epilepsy whatsoever. My specialist, he was just about to retire, this man, and he was really, really lovely. He gave me his home phone number because on the 110 day when I did have my next seizure, I could ring him right there, and I'd fallen down the stairs. And when you have big seizures, you lose control of your bodily functions. So it really wasn't very nice. And the whole time he talked us through it. He was brilliant. So it does affect different people in different ways. Most people out there have the potential to get epilepsy, and you might even get it just for like a year, or might just have a one-off seizure, and it doesn't have to be like a full-on shaking and going stiff. It could literally just be flicking of a finger or just twitching. That's a certain form. You have petit mal and grand mal. There's lots of technical terms for it all. So my point of this whole thing is to say I survived again, and that you can write to me and ask me questions, but also to say not to be afraid of it, because it's a little bit taboo. I didn't know anyone, and the more I speak to people, the more I find out that I'm not weird, and it is unfortunate, but it could be so much more worse. And the good thing is, on the National Health in the UK, you get free prescriptions. And if you're at a theatre and you're too close to the stage and you haven't got a good view and there's going to be flashing lights, you can just say you're epileptic and they'll move you to a better seat. So they're the good things. But yeah, it hasn't ruined my life. You can reach out to people on forums. There's the Epilepsy Society, and there's a forum on there, and you can talk to other people with the same condition. But like I say, there's lots of different versions. Don't be afraid if it happens to you. Talk to people. And look, I'm still here and I'm having a great time. Anyway, catch up with you soon. Take care. Bye.